What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. This week, I sat down with New York rapper Maassai and New Jersey producer JWords, who produced the beat you're hearing right now. We spoke about ratchet movie theaters, growing up watching Spike Lee and Harry Potter movies, the benefits of taking a year off from performing due to COVID, and how movies inspired the process behind Maassai's recent solo project with The Shifts, JWords' latest project Sonic Liberation, and their group album Velocity as the duo Air. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, y'all? Welcome back to, I guess, another episode of Real Notes. This is the second one. It still feels very weird to say that, but like we're here. We're out here going crazy. I have two incredibly special guests with me. I've been following both of them for a couple of years, but they've been holding it down for a while. JWords and Maassai are here. They're not in the studio because we're not in a studio, but we're all here together. Thank y'all for coming on to my shit. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. I'm glad to be here.
Oh yeah, I'm glad y'all are here too. It's you know, like I said before, I've only really I got put on to both of y'all probably, I want to say last year, and just seeing like the growth that y'all or maybe even 2019. It's been at least a year or two. I can't remember anymore. But and seeing how you've grown over the course of the last year and a half, both separately and together, has been like really beautiful. And yeah, I wanted to talk to y'all about movies. So let's go. So the very first question I have for both of you is when was the first time that both of you went to the movies?
The first time?
Yeah, the very first time.
Yeah.
I remember I don't remember it that well, but I remember going to the movies was like one of those fun things to do. So it's like I went to it when I was younger. There was like this like cheap ass movie theater in my neighborhood that the kids would go to, and like it was just a ratchet ass spot. Like they would go to and do like naughty shit. So, you know, it was just a place to go to, and you know, it was very cheap. It was like $5 and shit or something like that. So that was my first experience at the movies. I don't know what movie I saw though. Forgot.
Yeah, we had one of those types of movie theaters too in my hood, like in East New York. Lindenwood Multiplex. Like everybody goes there, super ratchet. You already know the customer service is not gonna be good.
Yo, terrible.
Yeah, but the movies, they showed movies. So but the first time, I cannot remember at all. My family is like, they're all movie buffs. So I feel like I grew up watching a lot of movies. I can't remember which movie I went to see first. But I have memories of like Spy Kids. This is my early memories of like Spy Kids and Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, I love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I was like obsessed with Harry Potter actually. I fell in love with him at a young age. I was like, I had dreams about him. About Harry Potter. Because I guess that was like the first male guy that I idolized. And I also read the book too. So I remember watching Scooby-Doo like at a very young age in the movie theaters.
The live action joint?
Yeah, like the live.
I remember that too. I definitely went to the movies to see that too.
That shit kind of scarred me low key because they had Scrappy looking crazy. Like he was, he's like turned into a mod. Like that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to double back on the bit about the theaters though, because like we had a few of those in Jersey too. There was this one in it's called Essex Greens. I think it's a dine-in theater now, but like
nice.
but like even when they changed it, like the service was always terrible, and like me and a whole bunch of my homeboys went to go see, what was it? I think we saw Legion. We were trying to go see Legion, but me and one of my other boys, we didn't have our driver's licenses, so we couldn't show ID to get in. So we bought tickets to go see we bought tickets to go see the Lovely Bones, and they tried to, like, all the people who were the people who worked at the theater thought we were trying to sneak in with our friends, and they were like, "Hey, we're watching you," and I'm like, "The fuck are you like? No, like we're not trying to sneak in fucking Legion. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but we did go in early because like they just didn't give a fuck. So we kind of like wandered in. We walked into the theater we were supposed to be at, and they were playing. Y'all ever see that Sandra Bullock movie, The Blind Side?
Yeah.
So like
The Blind Side, you know?
What?
No, I was saying you haven't seen The Blind Side. That movie's kind of like.
Jen is making fun of me because I never saw it.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying, you never seen it. It's kind of a terrible, like not a terrible movie, but it's not like when I was a kid. I don't know. It didn't feel right, like that movie. Like I don't know.
Wait, is that when? No. Forget it. That's Premonition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Blast from the Past. That's another bad movie, but it's like, it's like fun to watch.
Yeah.
So we walked into the theater and they were playing The Blind Side like upside down and in reverse. Like they were like rewinding the. I don't know why that happened, because I didn't think you needed to like rewind celluloid. I don't even know if they were still using celluloid at that point. So like we just walk in and just like see that, and we're like, okay. So we just walked out and waited, and then we made it about 20 minutes into the Lovely Bones. And then our boy just walked, he like stormed into the theater and was like, "Get up, we're leaving." And we're like, all right. So we get up and leave. And they spent the entire car ride home complaining about how Legion was fucking trash. That was
so y'all was trying to get into the trash movie,
I guess.
And you were having fun watching your movie?
The Lovely Bones wasn't much better. Like it was fine. It was fine, but it wasn't like I think I remember it being like, I think one of us was like, that was the most average movie I've ever seen in my life. So like, but like I've only seen 20 minutes of it and I never watched it again. So I got to try it. I guess I got to try it.
How old were you? You were young as hell?
I must have been like middle school, high school age. Maybe high school age. It was sometime in the mid 2000s. I don't remember what year it was. I was like fairly young, but not like a kid, you know, something like that. Damn, I wish I could remember. So the both of y'all kind of talked about movies. Like you kind of touched a little bit about movies that you fell in love with as when y'all were young. So like, are there any other particular movies that you like, you know, like Maassai, you were talking about Spy Kids. Like, is there anything else that kind of stuck with you as a kid as like, oh damn, like this movie's crazy?
For sure. I think like I really liked Spy Kids for like the kid culture vibe. Like that was, I feel like it was such a phenom like at that time. But my favorite movie, and it's still my favorite movie till this day. That's how I know it's really my favorite movie, because I loved it as a kid. I would watch it over and over again. But Crooklyn, by Spike Lee, that movie is like, it's beautiful. And me watching it as an adult, I'm still like, wow, this is still so beautiful. You know? Very good.
I don't think I've watched that one. Actually.
What do you say?
I've seen. I don't think I've watched that one.
Yo, let's watch it.
All right, let's watch it. I can watch it.
It's definitely.
I might have watched it. I had like a Spike Lee phase, like where I was just watching every movie of his. I might have watched them. All his movies are pretty great, honestly.
All right.
Yeah.
Crooklyn is the one where it basically follows the journey of just the summertime, basically, with this like young girl in Brooklyn. But it's like she goes down south to visit her family during the summer. And it just kind of like follows that experience. It's just mad cool because it relates so much to like just a general feeling of Black culture, but specifically as it pertains to, you know, a young Black girl from Brooklyn. So I was just like, oh shit, like this is
relate.
Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah, I heard it's been a minute since I've seen Crooklyn because like because like JWords was saying, my father had every Spike Lee movie on DVD up until Bamboozled. So I just like in high school I just watched all like, and they were all like still wrapped and shit. He just bought them, and I was like, well, nobody's using these, so let me just watch these. And that was one of the first ones I saw, Crooklyn. And I didn't grow up in Brooklyn, but I can't remember who told me this, but I either read it somewhere or somebody told me that Crooklyn was one of the most authentic representations of like a Brooklyn neighborhood they'd ever seen on film. And like, wow, like so like growing up in Brooklyn, Masai, how do you just because I'm curious, like how do you feel Crooklyn reflected the neighborhood you grew up in?
Yeah, definitely like just being a kid, like the way that we would treat each other as kids, like that culture of like, you know, hand games, but like who gets authority, like the older girls on the block or the older kids on the block would be the ones that the younger kids follow. And like it just represented that culture. And it was like in Bed-Stuy that it took place, but it took place during the 70s. So there is a slight difference, but seeing the way that it's still so the same is like beautiful, down to the accents, like, you know, in the movie. It's just like real Brooklyn, like, you know.
That's fire. Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think Do the Right Thing also takes place in Bed-Stuy too. Like a lot of Spike Lee's movies take place in Bed-Stuy. Now that I think about it, I don't know if all of them do, but like most of the ones in New York do. So
right, exactly.
That's really interesting.
Was he from New York, Spike Lee?
Yeah, he's from Bed-Stuy. So that's why. That's why he does that. Yeah. Like recounting his. I think Crooklyn was actually like the main character is about like that's his sister.
Joy, right? Or Jody? I forget.
Joy, yeah.
Joy, yeah.
I think it's Joy.
That's fire. Jen, what about you? Like, cause before you kind of mentioned like Harry Potter and stuff like that, but like, was there any other movies that you kind of gravitated towards as a kid that made you like be like, oh shit, like this is a movie?
I feel like I didn't become consciously aware of like movies that I actually liked till I reached like a certain age and shit. When I became like 17, I started watching like all the movies that I really like. It's like, oh my god, this is a movie, you know, like inspirational films. I'm thinking about one. I really love the Truman Show, by Jim Carrey and shit, because that movie was pretty wild. Like when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck, like shit's so crazy. Like, and then I saw The Matrix too, but I felt like The Matrix was good, obviously, but I felt like the Truman Show was kind of better for me. Like it was like a better representation, like a better way to grasp like that, you know, what they're trying to say and shit, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's like the whole perception and just like questioning your surroundings thing. Like like especially because like I didn't realize this until really recently, but that movie kind of like the movie predated the reality TV boom that happened in the 2000s. Like that wasn't a thing yet, and it kind of like I guess it kind of predicted it. It's almost kind of spooky in that way.
That is kind of spooky. That is pretty spooky actually, because I don't know, just the way they made that movie seem like it was pretty wild. Like, and I feel like at that when I was like 17 and I watched that movie, I was like, wow, it made me question my surroundings and shit, and like how I'm living my life and stuff like that. So
right.
Great movie.
Yeah, for real. That was to this day it might still be Jim Carrey's best, or at least his best like not specifically comedic movie.
Yeah, comedy. Yeah, because he's a good comedian, but like his non-comedic stuff is so fire too. Like even like there's this other show that's called it's like a recent show. It's not really funny. It's like dark humor. I forgot the name of it. But
the one where he's like the Mr. Rogers guy, right?
Yeah, and he's just not really being funny. He's more being like. There's another instance, like, huh?
So I have to tap in to.
Now, this is a crazy ass show. It's
the Rogers.
It's called.
I think it's.
I'll look it up and I'll.
Okay.
Yeah. Look it up right now.
But yeah, I haven't tapped in yet either, but I heard good things. I just saw that it was like he's like a sad Mr. Rogers and he like runs the show, and I think like Tyler the Creator is on an episode and people are making a big deal about that, but I never got to watch it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Maybe not. But
it's called Kidding.
Kidding. There we go.
Yeah, Kidding.
And it was on Showtime, right?
It's on Hulu right now.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like I want to watch it again too because it's pretty great show. It's kind of like the Truman Show, but not really. But like the same type of. I guess if that was a genre, that's like the same type of genre of like self-realization and like what you're actually getting, like the information you're giving out and shit. You know, like. But this show is pretty wild. Like it's kind of OD. You guys should watch it for yourselves.
Nah, I definitely got to tap in. Y'all ever see Man on the Moon? The movie where Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman.
No,
I don't think so.
Because that one's pretty wild too. It's kind of like it's Andy Kaufman was just a really fucked up dude who just went through a lot of things and was just like he was like a shot comedian. I'm sure you guys know who Andy Kaufman is, but like
yeah. I know which one you're talking about. That he plays this crazy ass role where
yeah, I know of the movie, but I never watched it.
Right.
That he reenacts that guy's life or something like that. And he's like this, weird ass dude that he like wrestled with women or some shit like that. Yeah, I saw that shit. That shit was weird. That shit was weird as hell.
Yeah, weird is definitely the word. And he was the Tony Clifton dude too. It was
Oh yeah.
Jim Carrey honestly like is a great actor. Like,
yeah, he's crazy. Insane. He taps into so many different roles, you know, like so many different parts. And I like his non-comedic stuff, even though he's funny, but sometimes I feel like he try to be OD funny, you know? Like, people try to be funny now. Like too much.
Yeah, his comedy is bizarre. It's just like his facial expressions and his like he's just like he is like I don't even know, an anomaly as like his characters are just like, are you even human? Like it's another entity. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like he taps into some wild shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even crazier when he does like, cause like he made a horror movie called The Number 23 too, and like seeing him do stuff like that, just knowing how wild he can get, it's like, why are you so? It's almost like it almost makes it creepier because it's like you're like grounded right now, and I'm not. Like it's just weird to think about. Like, So just considering all of that, when did y'all first start? When did the both of y'all start considering bringing music into your lives? Like, when did you first start really thinking like, I want to make music?
For me, I was into music from like a young age, just because I was surrounded by it, like in church and like my family. So it was always something that I had interest in doing. But I would say that when I got to middle school, that's kind of when it like cemented for me, like, okay, yeah, like I want to make music and actually have it be, you know, like career maybe of mine. Because before that I was like trying to do like, I used to think I was gonna be a lawyer. But that's just because I've been like, I was just like a smart ass as a kid. I always wanted to question things and like be like, why to my parents and shit. So I think I thought that I would be like a good defender or something. But I'm like, no. When I got to middle school, I was like, yeah, what the hell was I thinking? None of that.
When you got to middle school, when did like what was the moment that made you be like, fuck it, I want to do music?
I think my interest in studying and shit went down for one. Like I was like in elementary school, I was about it, like on the scholarly shit. And then when I got to middle school, it went downhill. One reason probably because I went to like a gifted school where you had to take a test to get in. So everybody was super like on their scholar, like I'm better than all of these other kids vibe. And I think that kind of defeated me a little bit. And then I was just like, okay, I want to just get into something creative. I started realizing shit about my life. you know, I think I went through like kind of like a depressive state actually in middle school. And I think I channeled everything into like creating at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Jen, what about you? When did you first realize you wanted to do music as like a permanent thing?
When I was in high school, I wasn't really creative when I was younger. Like, I don't know, I was just always, I guess I was just a regular kid, I guess. But I listened to a lot of music, and I was like, I love listening to underground music and finding new music, and that was like my thing and shit in high school and stuff. And then I wanted to be an accountant because I was like good with math or whatever. And then my sister was like, "Oh, you should probably do something with music and like be like a music engineer or something, work in the studio or something." I'm like, "Shit, that would be so cool, you know?" So that same year, like I started going to shows and started like, you know, being more out there. And like, I live in Jersey too, but I live in Union City, so I live very close to the city. So I always went to New York at a young age and stuff. And then that same year I was like 17. This all happened when I was 17. Like I feel like my awakening and shit. But then I just started, you know, making music. I was like a senior in high school, and I took like music production class and piano classes and stuff like that. And I was in a band, so you know, that was like my first little inch to music at that time. And then like the band broke up, and I started making beats and stuff. Like I was probably like 18 or 19.
Mm.
I was like, dang.
Around...
I was like kind of late making music, but young still, kind of, you know. But we're here now.
So like around this time, like what were y'all listening to? Like for both of you in like middle school / high school?
I was listening to like I said, I was like listening to underground music, so I was listening to like Blue and Exile and Our Future, of course, you know, ASAP Rocky. There's a lot of rap stuff actually. And then I was in a band, and I started listening to like more band stuff, getting to like Mars Volta and like the Doors and like psychedelic bands and stuff like that. Carlos Santana, Jimi Hendrix, and all that. So I was into salsa a lot too. So yeah, a lot of different genres back then. And still now.
That's beautiful. Masai, what about you?
What was I listening to? I mean, middle school to high school era, I think I went through a couple of phases for sure, but I was listening to a lot of rap shit as well. Who was I on? Like I had a big Lupe Fiasco phase. I had like
me too, yo. That like the biggest phase of Lupe Fiasco.
Same here.
I was like obsessed with his music.
Right. I was like, oh yeah, he's telling the truth. Who else? I listened to a lot of like neo soul and shit. Ryan Leslie. Jasmine Sullivan. Fucking. I'm trying to think. I feel like I listened to a lot of different things. I was listening to a lot of battle rap or like battle rappers. Cassidy, I had a big Cassidy phase.
Yeah, I was waiting for that one.
Yeah. As well as like I don't want to call them or categorize them anything, but the woke rappers or like, you know, they're all great rappers. I'm thinking like Mos Def, you know, Black Thought. I fucked with a lot of Slaughterhouse at, you know, point in time. Yeah.
That era, Joe Budden was wild. All of them were wild. Like him and Royce were just on some other shit. And
right. Yeah. Royce was one of my favorites.
Yeah, because that was the era when he brought out the bazooka on camera, right?
Yeah.
Royce was on some other shit, and yeah. To back up both of you, I also had a really big Lupe phase. Like Food and Liquor was an extremely formative album for me as a kid, son. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I first heard it was Kick Push, and what was the other one that really? It was Kick Push, Daydreaming, and American Terrorist were the 3 songs that I like.
American Terrorist, yeah. I like that one.
Like I won't lie, that might have changed my life. Like it really was. That was a whole, that was a head bust. It was very crazy. So so while y'all are kind of forming your musical identities, was there ever a period of time where you got where the both of you consciously linked music and film in your head? Like, did they ever kind of like have any interplay with you? Like even something as simple as like appreciating a score in a movie or something, but like it could go wherever you want. Like, was there ever a point where those two things kind of interconnected?
Yeah, for me, for sure. Like when I got to high school, and maybe a little bit in middle school too, there were times where, so I went to high school for theater. And so there was a lot of like, I thought at a moment that I was interested in musical theater, which I feel like is a lot like, film, in the way that, it's music involved, but it's also like depicting or telling a story.
That's facts.
So I think that's kind of when I intersected them, like in high school. I was like, oh man, like, or music videos, like just like being like, oh yeah, like if I had a music video, I could incorporate these theatrics into it, and like vice versa.
That's dope. What was your favorite music video if you had to like pick one? Like at that time.
That era?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Can't remember anything.
Mine was the Missy Elliott video with Ciara and shit. I was obsessed with that video. And Ciara's video with Two Step. Those two videos I would wait on MTV just to see those two vids.
So Missy Elliott had great videos.
She had the best video. I was obsessed with her videos. I don't know what, like, I just love watching them. Like when her video came on, oh my god.
Like nah, man. Missy and Busta Rhymes to me have the best rap videos.
Oh my god, Busta Rhymes too. Yo, what? I love Busta Rhymes. I wish he could get on my beats nowadays.
I'm gonna be that one and say it and bring this person's name up, but Kanye's videos at that time, I think that's who I was on. I was like, oh yeah, this shit crazy.
See, no,
Kanye West was the shit back then.
Right?
I mean, no
question. Like, yeah, like that's
but
valid.
For me,
sorry.
I was gonna say about the movie and theater and music thing. For me, it's seeing like different scores in movies and stuff like that, and then some scores were like just made for the movie and shit like that. That was pretty cool for me. So I always wanted to score a movie or a show or a video game.
Wow. That's fire, because I could definitely see the music you produce like being used in a game. Like
yeah, I always saw that too.
What was
sometimes I feel like I just make music for games. People just like it.
So wait a minute, let's go there for a second. Like did you grow up playing a lot of games, or was that just kind of like something that was just in the periphery?
Not really. No, I was poor. We didn't have no PlayStation or nothing here. We had a Game Boy. We were playing the Game Boy and shit. I love the Game Boy and shit. But I always loved like video games music though. Like when I went to a friend's house and they had like a station, it'll be like the craziest songs ever that you can't really find nowhere else but in those games. Especially like back then there was no Spotify or Bandcamp and shit, you know? So some of those soundtracks were sounding mad wild to me and shit. But I don't remember what game. I never had like my own like PlayStation or anything like that. Just a Game Boy.
Right. I know. Speaking of the PlayStation, I know there are a lot of. I know there's a lot of producers who kind of got their first start on that MTV Music Generator game. It was either for PS1 or PS2. It was like you just put it in, and it was like it was just like a whole little. It was basically like you had like Fruity Loops or Logic on your PlayStation, and you could just like make beats.
Oh wow.
It was pretty crazy. I never had it myself.
That's fine.
Yeah, I wish I could remember.
Do they still have that? That's fire. If they made something like that right now. If they don't,
I don't know.
So
but yeah, I agree. Like, like it's really just like free money waiting for them. Like whoever decides to make like a beat maker for a game system, like
that would be
all over that. Like,
that's so cool. I'm thinking like, imagine back then, like you're like mad young, you're playing this video game, but it also has this music generator. You can just make a beat real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a big deal because back then they didn't even think about it like that. You just add stuff like that to shit, you know, like just to like try shit out, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But on my Switch, I have this Korg app that is like a little Logic Ableton on the Switch. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very good though. Yeah.
Yo, shout out to the Switch too. I got mine in the other room.
Yeah, it's pretty good. $40 and it has some awesome sounds, you know.
That's not bad.
Not that I'm trying to promote them or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, let's take real quick. Let's take it back to the scoring thing. So was there a specific movie or like a TV show or something that you watched and that kind of pushed you toward like, oh, maybe I could score something in the future?
Well, it didn't happen until I was like a little older and conscious of scoring and what that really was, you know. But I seen the show Stranger Things. The people that made it were like they made it on Moog and Korg like synths and stuff like that, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like that was when I really first really thought like, oh, maybe I could like score a whole like fucking alien show with like my synths or something like that. You know what I mean? Like.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they were using the same equipment as I use, you know, so I was like, that's pretty cool, you know. That's when I first really thought, like, I'll be so down to, like, the score film, you know, especially in, like, a sci-fi film or some shit like that, you know.
Yeah,
that's like my vibe. Mm-hmm.
There's this really dope show that I love called Infinity Train. It started on Cartoon
Network.
Oh,
we watched it. Masai put me on.
Wow. So okay.
So I started watching that shit one day. I was like, "What the hell? This is so cool." Right. I love shit like that. When I first saw Adventure Time, when I saw like all those fucking shows, even Steven's Universe was great. You know, even the music in Steven's Universe is really great.
Yeah,
music in that show was fire, son. Yo,
so
okay.
Fire.
So I know I'm talking to the right people because y'all already knew about Infinity. Oh, crazy! Because nobody I talk to knows about this fucking show, and like, it's just so, they're putting out the 4th and final season, April 15th, which is really.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they stay quiet and then they just announce the show coming back. But yeah, like
we literally been saying like, damn, I wish it was another season of Infinity Train.
Oh god, like there's Infinity Train is such a dope concept. Like it feels really simple, but it's because it's just like a train that could have any kind of world on it. It just sounds like kind of like a cute little kid thing, but they just they just take it to so many deep and kind of traumatic places, and they just find these new people to bring on and like the different perspective. Like, I wrote a whole piece last year about how it's basically just a kid-friendly version of Saw, and like,
that's not funny.
And like, it's but to kind of bring it back to the point, like I could totally see your music scoring a show like Infinity Train. Like
that'd be so fire.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be so cool. I'll fuck with that. But also, me and Masai always, you know, talk about doing short like films and me scoring them and then her like writing the scripts and stuff like that.
Oh wow! Yeah, how recently have y'all been talking about that? Like, has that been a thing that's been going on for a while, or just now?
It's kind of a new thing.
Yeah, it's kind of new, but also I feel like the first time we talked about it was maybe like 2 years ago, probably. I think.
Yeah.
But we haven't been like actively working on it, but it definitely is a concept that we've talked about before.
That's that's so cool. So that's actually that's actually a good way to get back into this other shit I wanted to ask. When did you two first meet? Like when did you two first meet?
We met at the show. We got booked for a show. We didn't know each other. I'm from Jersey and she's from Brooklyn, you know. but she ended up playing and she had a crazy ass amazing set, and then I don't know, we like clicked that same day. It was a great show though. Everybody on the bill was amazing, you know.
Yeah, it was.
I think Mike was on the bill too. Actually, he was like a young Mike.
Yeah, like a young,
like a young Mike. Like before he even blew up or anything. It was crazy to even be on that bill. It was like in 2017. It was like a long time ago.
The crazy thing, it was Jen's like first show, right? And she killed it. We were all like, I remember being in the back, like talking to somebody, and we were like, yeah, nah, this is my favorite set right now.
But it was my first show, but I've done shows before, but it was my first solo show. But I was like working. I was in the lab like that year. I didn't go out nowhere. Like I actually went through like friendship aches. Like I was going through like breakups with friends and shit, and like outgrowing those people and shit like that. And I was so depressed because these are the people I was making music with in my neighborhood, but I was outgrowing them, and we were on the same vibe. It was too much drama. I was like, what the fuck am I in so much drama for, you know? So that year, like 2017, I stood home every single day, even in the summertime, and worked on music, like worked on like I would like picture myself performing live. So that's why I guess that day I killed it, because I was waiting for that moment. I was like, I need this moment. And then from that moment forward, like that whole year I didn't go out or anything, but it paid off, because then, you know, from that show I started meeting cool ass people like Maassai. Like that same day we met, we kind of clicked. Like we're like, oh shit, wow, like oh my god, let's meet up. she came to Jersey sometimes too. Like she'll come to my crib, we'll make music. Yeah. We have like a song we made back then that's like in her first EP and shit, you know.
Damn, wow.
And that was like the beginning of us. But we will always be like, oh my god, we need to start something, a group or do or something.
Facts. And we were both big. I liked Jen because she was chill as fuck. And I'm like, yeah, this is my vibe right here.
Right, because that same day I met like different other people that wanted to work on music. But I remember I wanted to link up with Maassai because like I loved her energy. I love the way she rapped. And she was so calm and chill like me, like just smoking blunt. Like other people I met that day were like so wild and like crazy, and that's like, you know what I mean? Like different, yeah, that's beautiful too. But it's different personalities, I guess. You know, like
no, yeah, I feel it.
It's not bad. Like people are outgoing. I mean, that's fine, of course. But like, you know, me, I just like clicked inside. I was just like, oh my god, amazing. She had like a fucking sax player and then a drummer, and then she was rapping. Like what? Like that was an experience, you know? It was crazy because we both had like unique experience. Because everybody else kind of just rapped, I think, but we had like, it was crazy. We thought about our set and like wanted to give a performance experience. Not everybody else killed it, but like the fact that, you know, you brought a drummer and a saxophone player out to, you know, that's thoughtful. You know, you're like, oh, let me put in thought in my set, you know. So I admired that. And also I was in bands before, so I love seeing that. I was like, oh my god. You know?
Right. Yeah, you know, like minds connect, and especially in an environment like that, because like, you know, just like being at shows, it's really like there's always going to be people who are hopping all over the place. So to find the one person who's kind of like on the same wavelength as you, it's just kind of, you just kind of show up. Like I can't tell you how many people I've met at shows just off of that, you know, like people that like I didn't know before I go in, and you know, I'm still talking to them years later. You know, like never mind working with them. Like so. Right. Nah, I feel it. Like so that's really crazy to think that y'all were even thinking about like kind of coming together as a duo before it had even happened, or at least for a little while before it had officially happened. So like when did Air officially like become a thing that you thought was like, oh, we're actually gonna go all the way with this?
That was like 20. That was like the ending or last half of second half of 2019.
Yeah, that's when we really was like, all right, yeah. No more fucking around here. we wrote this. We Toxic Behavior was our first song, so we were like, wow, we need to like write more. So, but we always had the idea of being a duo since we met. Like that was like the first thing. Like we should be a duo. Like that was back in 2017 and shit, you know. But it didn't work out because I wasn't going to New York a lot, and like, you know, we'll meet up just sometimes. But then 2019, I just became more free and started going to New York every single day, and it was exhausting. But we were hanging out all the time. We were like, you know, becoming more and more like in sync and stuff. And then we wrote Toxic Behavior, and I was like, we were like, okay, no, let's write this album. And quarantine kind of helped with that too, because I was just sending beats and she was just getting on them.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess like talk to me about Velocity and like how Velocity came together and like just all of that, because it's like I tell everybody that I can possibly find about how much I love this album. Like y'all really put your whole ankle into it. So congratulations first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. But yeah, like talk to me about how Velocity came together.
Yeah, a lot of it came together. Well, like Jen said, Toxic Behavior was the first song we recorded. And that's like Jen sending me beats and me being like, oh yeah, this is hard. And then either linking up to create it or yeah. But once quarantine started, you know, both of us were just like in our bags. Like,
yeah,
you know, we were off work. We had more time. We weren't doing shows. We had more time to work on stuff. So, you know, we kind of knocked out the majority of Velocity during quarantine, just like a back and forth kind of process of sending each other stuff. Yeah, and I think it just kind of reflects, you know, a lot of the feelings that were coming up during quarantine during that time. Yeah, just about, you know, I feel like a lot of the songs, at least in regards to my writing, a lot of them are about like social anxiety in one way or the other, or just like being around a lot of people. And I think before quarantine, both of us were just like out
in it. Yeah,
like going like
what the shit's for real.
Yeah, and then
out there every single show, get booked every single second player.
Yeah,
I was saying yes to every show. Like, why? I would never do it to myself.
And then, you know, it'll be like the same bill.
Yeah,
same you know, it was just like around the same people. Real, yeah, it was getting real like feeling like a 9 to 5 or some shit. Like just feeling real like OD, like like repetitive, I think. And so I think a lot of those feelings were there.
Wow, it did really feel repetitive now I think back at it. Like, wow, we were out there like staying up late, exhausted. Just up. But it was fun while it lasted. I'm so glad that quarantine happened, because I mean, you know, whatever, like COVID was a terrible thing, but it also like let it rejuvenate like everything, like the community, like brought to light some weird whack shit that was hiding in the dark and shit, you know, in the dark of New York City's nightlife, you know. So even like I'm talking about like the hip hop world, but I'm also talking about the dance electronic world, you know, like these nightclubs. Predator used to live in those nightclubs, you know what I mean? Like be weird and like, you know, harass women, or even, you know, non-binary or whatever, you know. It was just weird energy all the time, right? You know, we're so glad that you don't have to live in that and shit. And if it comes back, you know, that's cool, but I hope it doesn't come back to be the same thing it was before, you know.
Right. You know, there was definitely a lot of reckoning that needed to be done on like micro and macro scales in that regard. And I think I think that people, or at least I hope people, are going to be more committed to like keeping every space possible safe, because like that's what because like that's what's gonna, like on top of wanting to, you know, like have precautions and set for COVID, safety and all that. Like people want to feel safe, like especially the performers, and just like having to, you know, like it's a place like you have to be, not a place you want to be. So it should be like doubly safe and protected because of that. Like,
right,
motherfuckers are wilding.
Exactly.
That's
but
so,
you know, COVID really did come through and just, you know, rejuvenated everything.
yeah,
I feel like a fresh start. And people say they want to go back to normal, but I hope it's not the normal that we were living in before.
Yeah. Yeah, normal is not what we're trying to go back to. It's like
no.
Like, I think that's really interesting because that's not really a perspective you hear a lot, especially when it comes to like the music community, because like we all miss shows. We all, you know, like people miss performing, people miss going to shows and being, you know, like in a community, but we don't often think about how nice it is just kind of like have a, or like nice is kind of a fucked up word to use, but like just how like just having a break can kind of just give you new perspective and just like put you on, just make you appreciate it a little more. And just come back and make it new in some way. Like that's also really important to consider, because like burnout's really real in every facet of this whole entertainment industry. Like we really work ourselves to death on this shit. So it's so important to just have that moment to say like, hey, like I'm gonna take these, you know, 8, 9, 10 months, a year, and just chill and make music at my pace and do it the way I want to do it, and not have to be, you know, in 6 different places in a week, you know, like that's important. That, like, you know, like your health is everything. Your well-being is everything. So and yeah, like that really, and like that's the thing about this project, is that it feels like you two, like you said, you were in your bag. Like it just felt like the energy and everything was just right, and like y'all both brought your A game. Like so while y'all were creating this project, did you have like a favorite song or like a really like dope moment that was like, damn, like we really killed that shit right now? Like
well,
I want to see what Jim has to say.
I mean, I felt that way a little bit every time when Maassai would send me like the stems, because think about it, we weren't linking up really because it was COVID, so we didn't experience those aha moments together, I guess, you know.
Right.
But for me, honestly, every song that she sent from now, I was like, oh my fucking god. But when she sent some shit and she ripped that like sample type beat, I was like, wow, this album is gonna be amazing. But then when I made the interlude, you know, as well, I was like, that was like the last thing I did, and that was like, it was like a great seal for the project for me.
Yeah,
but
I feel like Toxic Behavior was a big probably aha moment in the beginning too.
Oh yeah, that one, because we were all together and shit.
Yeah,
like,
we were together.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to record, and then niggas forced me to.
We didn't force her. We were like,
I got halfway through the verse, and I was like, nah, I just need to memorize it. I like to memorize shit like before I do it, or at least have a good understanding of my pocket before I record. And that Jen's, especially that beat is fast as fuck. So I was like, damn, nah, let me come back. Got halfway through the verse. Everybody in the room was like, no, go. They peer pressure into it, but I'm happy that they did.
Yeah, because we got it done that same day and we didn't even have to go back to it.
Wow.
But yeah, we turned off the lights and everything so she could finish the verse.
Oh damn.
There was mad people in the room. We're like, right, do you want us to turn off the lights? So we did. And then she finished that shit. She killed it. It was like she was in solo mode.
low key, that's like a movie moment. Like that's really like the moment where it's just like the everything's at stake. Let me get this. Like that's
right.
Wow, I love that. Can I tell y'all my favorite song on this project?
Yeah, sure.
Because mine is Some Shit. I think Some Shit is my favorite song on here.
Right. Some Shit, yeah. That one's crazy.
Yo, like, yeah, just
why is it your favorite song?
Because I love the vocal sample and the way you chop the drums. Just really I hate the word wonky, but it just sounds like really, it's just got this really cool, like almost like lopsided energy to it. And the way
it
Masai was,
I feel that it swings to the side.
yes, swing, there you go.
To the side.
Swing is the best shit. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just the way you were able to ride that beat is just like, it just, yeah, you just really opened it up. It was really dope.
Yeah. The way she rapped on that was crazy. But the way I made that beat, well, you guys know the song, whatever, but I put it onto my OPZ and then I chopped it up. And then I was playing around with like different sections of the song and shit. And then it was, for me, it was like the bass line. Like as soon as I heard the bass line align and shit, like in a weird way, made a new bass line groove. I was like, wow, this is really an amazing like sample type beat. Like, I didn't even have to do much. Once I heard that, I just let it be and I made 2 different like types of arrangements and then that's it. That was the beat. Right. Took like 5 minutes.
It's just like it all just came together so well, and it really and like it really just put me in a zone, because that's one of the shorter songs on the project too. It's like it's like not even 2 minutes, right? It's like really short.
Yeah, it's like I think so. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Or
there it is, yeah. Like and yeah, it's just so potent. And that's one of the things I love about this project as a whole, is that it's so potent and it's so varied. Like there's so many different sounds going on here, like, and just yeah, I love it. You can, like, it really kept me guessing. At least the first time I listened to it, like it just kept me guessing every time, and like in like a good way, you know, like not like in a confusing, like I want to hear what else is coming next type of way. So.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you so
much. So like while y'all were creating, like even though you weren't creating together, like were there any, like was there, like, did film kind of play a role in the way you guys were kind of crafting this album? Like were there any like outside influences on the way you were writing or producing, or like anything that you could think of?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think that, I mean, I don't know if it is film itself that informs the narratives of creating, but I know that when I'm in certain moods, I definitely want to watch certain types of films, and I'm probably creating certain types of art at the same time, or talking about certain things, because that's like the general mood that I'm in. I'm thinking like during quarantine, where I was writing most of the shit for Velocity, like I was definitely having crazy ass dreams. I was in my real trippy bag, like off the soberness, because I actually wasn't smoking because I got COVID in March. So last year, like a year from now. Yeah. And I mean, I was slightly symptomatic. Like I was symptomatic, but I was still able to function, you know?
Okay.
It was like mild. But
I'm happy you recovered.
Yeah, and so I was watching things like that as well.
Okay.
Like it's trippy.
Wow. Like wow. I don't even know what to say to that. Like just wow. Yeah. How like more than anything, I'm happy you recovered, because like that's wild. But actually, yeah. So now, so like as a multimedia artist and someone who's like incorporated like art pieces into like including like film and movie stuff into your work with like a lot of different things, like does film, I guess this is kind of like a variation on the same question, but like does film play a role in like how you create music in general as well? Like does that, like especially with a project like with the Shifts, which feels kind of very cinematic in a way, almost like a whole bunch of little vignettes chopped up into songs?
Oh well, yeah. I think like I'm thinking about, or for with the shifts, particularly. And a lot of my EPs actually, so I think I'm thinking of visuals and ways to convey it as well as I'm thinking about writing it. The visuals don't always happen, but they're definitely planned. And sometimes they just don't get executed in the past. But yeah, visual shit, film shit. I think it's a good way to, like, if you have some music, like, you're already telling this through an audio story. So it's like, if you add the elements of visual to it, it only makes the story more vivid, and it resonates with people more when there's like an image to it as well, not just audio, audio and visual.
Right.
And to take that a step further, like doing that in spaces, that's why I like plays, and that's also why I like like curating shit, because on top of audio and visual, you also get to like have this like full sensory kind of like experience.
Right. Yeah. I could tell that's something that you really favor, because you've done it quite a few times. And like, it's almost like it almost sounds to me, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost sounds to me like you kind of start from like a visual place when you're creating, and then just kind of like expand out from there. Is that kind of what you're saying, or is that a little off base?
I think it's probably the opposite. I think I'll probably start through like writing and audio and then visual after. But visual is definitely there as well, though.
Got you. Yeah. I think your history with plays and musicals, I think that's a really cool wrinkle in there. Like, I actually meant to ask you about this before. Do you have like a favorite player or musical, either that you've seen somewhere, like that you were like in yourself, that that kind of piqued your curiosity about how all that connects at first?
I'm trying to think. I've seen a couple of plays on and off Broadway. Wait, are you saying when I connected like music to?
To just like the overall, like your overall artistic your overall artistic vision of everything, just like, because like you're talking about how how, just like all of the different parts come together with like the visuals and music and everything.
And the yeah. Well, yeah, I went to see like Porgy and Bess on Broadway. Also, I had a big, like, I liked a lot of fantasy shit, so I love like The Wiz or Wizard of Oz, or like shit like Willy Wonka, like Johnny Depp films and shit like that. But yeah, so I went to see Wicked, which is like the sequel to The Wizard of Oz on Broadway. Those are all really good.
Yeah. I've seen Wicked too. I saw maybe not when it first came out, but like especially with the Wizard of Oz movie connection, it's kind of hard not to think about them it's kind of hard not to think about those two things coming together that way, because I feel like as Americans, it's just kind of like you're almost like required to grow up watching The Wizard of Oz at some point. Like, it's just a thing you watch. It's just there. It's just like a reference point, just like in like your deepest subconscious, like just there. So like everybody has that. Everybody just has that, and watching something like Wicked and just have it visualized like right in front of you is really something. And then and then I remember when I saw the other Disney movie, the Oz the Great and Powerful, the one that was like it was like, that was also kind of sort of it wasn't kind of sort of, it was staged like a play, and they even did the whole, like, it started out in black and white and full screen, and then it goes to color and widescreen. Like shit like that is really cool. I love like multimedia stuff like that plays with perspective history, all that dope shit. And like I get that from your music. Like it's like, yeah, like just especially a project like Velocity and With the Shifts, they just feel very like, they just feel fully realized and atmospheric in that way, if that makes sense. Like that's what draws me to that stuff for sure.
Facts. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, to bring it back to Jen, like you produce so many different kinds of music. Like it's not like it's just, it jumps everywhere from rap to dance to electronic. Like you're just somebody who's, I mean like you kind of told us just in the type of music you were listening to as a kid, it shows that you were jumping all over the place. And I was wondering with you, have film and movies inspired the way you kind of approach creating an atmosphere in your music? Like, has that ever played a role in the way you flesh out your, I guess for lack of a better term, like musical worlds?
I don't think so, honestly. Like I love film and movies and shows and stuff like that. But when I'm making music, I feel like I always get inspired by other music or like outside things. Obviously movies too, but like I don't feel like I get my inspirations from like the sounds that I want to make, I guess, you know. I don't know. But I guess it's just from different sounds and rhythms that I grew up with and listen to like throughout my life and stuff like that, rather than films. But I love movies though. Like I would stop making a beat to go watch a movie to like go back to making a beat as a break, you know.
Jen, sometimes you'll say shit like sometimes Jen will say shit like she'll play me like something that she just made. She definitely visualizes it often. Like you're like, oh yeah, it reminds me of this very particular image or story. Or like it sounds like you do that a lot.
Ooh, okay.
Well, I guess I do it unconsciously. I don't.
All right. No.
Well, there is some songs like that I would make, but it reminds me of a certain like type of vibe, like setting, more like a setting than a movie scene or something like that. You know,
I mean, that's cool too. You know, like it's like you really can't go wrong finding inspiration in any kind of visual like that. Like you could just look out your window and be like, damn, like I want to create something that sounds like that, like sidewalk crack. Like, it's like I'm sure it's more complicated than that.
Well, like for example, with like Sonic Liberation, like each song on that album kind of sounds like the name that I wrote. Like the first song is called Up Late, and if you listen to the beat, it sounds like, you know, like a beat that you like. Wow, it sounds like nighttime or something like that, or like early morning or something like that. That's I guess what you mean when I say like I just picture certain settings or like scenarios for my music and shit. You know, which could correlate to like a movie scene or something like that. I haven't put those two together till like right now.
Yeah, I can see it because like that's one of the things I love about movies is that, you know, like we watch them and I feel like they've permanently mutated, at least for me, like movies have permanently mutated the way that I perceive the world. Like when I remember things, like when I remember things, I remember them like I like cut memories together like I'm editing a movie, you know, like you think about like a really like cool party or just like a time when you're chilling with people, and like even if you weren't watching something from somebody's perspective, it's like you're doing like the whole like reverse shot thing and like editing super fast between like high octane moments and like dwelling on the slow moments. And I'm actually happy you brought up Sonic Liberation because that's, you know, like stuff like Up Late and like Sonic Cleanse and Time Passing. It's like I get what you're saying when you say that like you're creating stuff to kind of like suit the title, or at least it's like reflective of the title. Like I think that's dope. And I think there's there's like, to me personally, there's like a cinematic quality to the way you bring those visuals to life, because those two, like I guess that's just the way my brain works. But like, I can,
like, if I knew how to do animation, that would be so lit. Like, that's what I want to get into next. Like, doing animation and like putting the animation, because like I want to do videos and like I like doing like physical me in the video type shit too. But I also want to do like more like abstract stuff that goes well with my music and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why. That's one of the reasons I loved the video you and Concept did. Cause it kind of split the difference between like the abstract animation and like green screenish stuff and YouTube being in the video. It's like a nice little gateway into that if you were to like explore that further. That's fire.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Also your work, you have the project with Nappy Nina coming soon, which like congrats on that. Like y'all sound great together. I was just listening to the song like a couple days ago when it first came out. Yeah.
It's funny because Maassai like was like, you and Nappy Nina should work together like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Damn.
Nah. I knew it because I could tell Nappy Nina has the range, you know, to get on.
Yeah, she does.
Get on Jim's beats, like for sure.
Yeah, like it's
been fun working with her. It's awesome. I love it. It's a dope experience. Besides on the project too, actually. Wait, we're gonna find that out on Wednesday, but I'll tell you, Kia's on it too.
Yeah, this won't be coming out until probably next week. So like,
okay, the album drops like on Friday. So.
Well, yeah, no, no, it's all good. It's all good. But no, I think so like I have this thing where I look at like one producer, one rapper collabs as like depending on who seems to be more I don't want to say who seems to be more in control, but there's always like a director actor relationship there with me, right? Like, and of course, like depending on how it goes, like sometimes y'all are both directors, sometimes you're both actors, sometimes it's one or the other. Like if you had to pick one of those to be like working with, I guess we could start with working with Maassai. Like working with Maassai, would you consider yourself to be more like someone who's like in front of or behind the camera when it comes to how y'all made Velocity? That's a weird question now that I just said it out loud.
Well, with Velocity, Air is a duo that we came together to create. So I feel like we both play equal parts in
of course
Air, of course, But with Nappy Nina, I kind of feel the same way, because at the end of the day, it's like I'm the producer, so it has to be like a neutral, like we're both present, in the creation of it, because well, with my experience, I feel like the producer goes hand in hand with the rapper, of course, so I don't know, I feel like they both shine in one way, because me personally, when I look at dual projects, I look at both, always, like Blue and Exile and Doom and Madlib, like I look at both sides, Knowledge and Anderson .Paak, so we love both of them, you know what I mean? So
I feel that, and I really want to like destroy the idea, because I think a lot of the times like producers like aren't valued in like mainstream music and shit. It's just like people don't see that like it's literally like a 50-50 effort, if not sometimes more effort on the producer's part, and I feel like like that's a big thing for me as a vocalist who sources my beats through collaborating with people, like that their presence and their musicality is like making up so much of what I'm even able to do with it, I feel like that's like super important. Like in my personal projects, like it's, when I'm sourcing from different people, it's like, okay, yeah, I curated these beats, I curated putting these beats together as one project, but there's, whole beings that are behind creating it. And with Velocity, definitely, it's a duo, and we both were like, okay, I feel like we both contributed.
Yeah, we both come to the table with ideas and you know, different things, or who we want to master it or anything, you know, like I mix a lot of stuff, you know, I mixed the Napinina's project, I mixed the Velocity, I mixed it with the shifts. So
yeah, you did.
Always. So yeah, you know, it's always good to like keep everybody in mind, and especially with the shifts, you know, like all the producers that were on that project are amazing, you know, and it really, you know, stands out too as well. Like I listened to Maassai, but I also listened to like, wow, like all these producers leveled up as well and like came together to create a fire ass project, you know?
So, right.
Facts.
No, yeah, that's definite facts, because we definitely don't give the producers enough credit. Like you could even like the Grammys were last night, and to me, like I mean, like the Grammys acknowledge producers and things, or like not even just the Grammys, but like in general, I feel like awards and things like they recognize producers, but if they do, it'll be like off camera. You know, like you don't ever see anybody like on a TV take home producer of the year. You know, and like I think that's so unfair, considering like how much work you do in crafting like there's no music without you. You know, like it's all spoken word, which is like which is cool. Like spoken word is fine, but like, you know, like music is like it's like you said, it's 50-50, you know? Like it's like that's just so important to that's just so important. Like just not even to any one specific thing, but like music is important. You know, like
sound is important. It's you know, like sound, like synth sounds or like lead piano, you know, that all that is important. Drums, you know, like that's what gets you moving at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah,
and of course the vocals too, of course, you know, but that's always a given, you know.
And like I want to take out some time, because I realized I didn't do this at the beginning of the episode, but like you recorded the, like you made the fucking song for this podcast. Like that's like and you know, like I wanted to just say I really appreciate that, because that's like that quality is what attracted me to your music. Like it makes me move.
Thank you so much for hiring me for that.
No problem.
Like it was really fun. It was really fun making it.
Like thank you for doing it, you know, like just like even taking a chance on someone who's like just starting on this. Like this is all, like interviewing is second nature to me, but like doing this, I'm still feeling all of this out. So like, so for you to even just be like, oh cool, like I'm down, like, you know, it's like I like the respect is just super duper mutual. Like I'm fucking with both of you. Like that's why you're here. So, you know, like just thank you. So before we get out of here, I wanted to touch on a little bit of trending movie news, because movies are great. And by the time, no, I think just before this podcast drops, the King Kong and Godzilla movie is coming out. And I wanted to know if either of y'all had a relationship with either King Kong or Godzilla movies growing up. Like, yeah, like was there ever a period of time where you watched a King Kong or a Godzilla movie and were like really into it at all?
Me personally, when I saw King Kong, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. But then I found out that it was just a remake from like older movies, and I don't know why I got turned off by that. I thought it was new when I was young, but it wasn't. It's like they always make it in every generation. I was just like trying to bring it back. Like for me, I don't know. I always thought that was weird, you know.
I get it. Yeah, like because I kind of knew that it was a remake, but it wasn't something that like I don't think I had ever seen the original. And I just like watched the new one, because you're talking about the one with Jack Black and like Naomi Watts and people, right? The one where they're like,
I think so, like the older one.
Yeah,
the way older one.
Like, cause I was really into Lord of the Rings when those came out, and I remember being like, oh shit, the Lord of the Rings dude made this movie. Like, I gotta go watch it, and it was like cool and everything. but then I saw like the old, because there's like the very old one from the 30s, and then there's the one from the 70s they made, and he's like
exactly
crazy. It's just, yeah, I get what like I get what you're saying about how that can be weird. Just
it's like what a lot of Disney movies do. They're just coming out with new versions of the same story,
especially now,
instead of making like new ideas.
Exactly. I guess as a kid, I don't know, I thought that it was just using the same idea over and over again, like recycling.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and it's like if you're not gonna offer a new perspective, like it can be cool to watch, and like it could even be like a great movie in its own right. But like, if you're not gonna offer a new perspective, it's like, you know, it doesn't. I don't want to say it's not worth it, but it doesn't really mean as much, at least to me. So I feel you there. Yeah. I feel you there.
I think I had a King Kong moment for sure. Like me and my family, like with my family, it was like more like a family moment where my family loved to watch King Kong movies and like really got into it. I went to see Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Good movie.
In the movies, and I just remember being on my toes the whole time because I'm like, what the fuck? These apes are fucking talking and fucking smarter than us, about to fucking take over the world. Like, imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. What about Godzilla? Was there like do y'all have any fond memories of Godzilla at all?
No, I don't really have any relationship to Godzilla.
Me neither.
But I think that is cool. That it's a mashup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that they're fusing it. I know like anybody who's like a big fan of King Kong and a big fan of Godzilla is like going nuts about it.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes sense.
Yeah, nah, I definitely am because I grew up liking Godzilla a lot. I haven't seen many of the movies, but I've seen enough to be like, I mean, like he's just like a big lizard who breathes fire. Like that's just, you know, like, that's just hard, just like on principle to me. So and then they came back and made that the newer one from 2014, which was not good. It's not a good movie, but then they made the other one, which I just watched for the first time in 3 years last night, King of the Monsters, which is just like it's mostly just all the monsters fighting. And it's just like Godzilla and Mothra and King Ghidorah and a bunch of others, just like a whole bunch of just really cool monsters just like fighting each other and crashing into buildings. And it's just like, it's just fun, you know, or like as fun as something like that can be, you know. It's just a good time. And like they also made a new King Kong movie, or a newer one, Kong Skull Island, so they're kind of bringing them two together off of all of that. It's not going to be like the Avengers, because I don't think they're teaming up, but like they're going to beat each other up and people are hyped. So I guess to kind of like wrap this up, like if y'all had to choose between King Kong and Godzilla, who y'all got if you had to pick one? Just like off of like
King Kong.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose King Kong as well, just off the fact that I know King Kong better.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, you obviously have Godzilla, so
yeah. It was that obvious.
A lizard versus, like, come on, like King Kong has to be smarter than this nigga. Like, he's an ape. Like, apes are smart ass animals, you know. Right. Lizards, like,
well, they're reptilian. They're not that smart. They don't even have feelings.
Right. See, I don't agree, but I can't really argue with that because in the trailer he's really like making like tools, like King Kong is making tools and shit, and like jumping at him with tools, and like it's gonna be a fight, but I'm Team Godzilla all the way. That's just how it's always been for me. But I like them both. But
fire, breathing. If somebody, that's kind of OD.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that shit is tough. So it's just gonna be a fight, and it's gonna be a good time, and I can't wait to see it. It's just one of those things you don't even really like need to know anything about either of them to just, just like the monkey and the lizard are fighting. Like, who's gonna win? Like, I don't know. That's super fun.
See, once the movie is out, I'm going on Twitter and see what people say.
Yeah,
because I'm not watching it probably.
Yeah, because it seems to me like most people are Team Godzilla right now, but there's a few King Kong people out there. Nah, there's probably more than a few, but like people are just it just is what it is. Like, it's probably gonna wind up being neither of them winning. Like, it's just gonna be one of those things where like it's a tie, and they gotta go like beat up fucking like Mecha Godzilla or something. Like, who even?
I see that.
Yeah, I can see that. So
who even knows? But yeah, this was. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, I really love what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate y'all even taking time out of your day. It's been almost fucking 2 hours. Like, thank y'all for taking almost 2 hours to just talk to me about movies and bullshit. Like, I appreciate it a lot.
That was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. It's nice to interview about things too that's not fully related to music. Just talk about you.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.